evening, Mr. Brennan, teachers, parents and students of Year 10 2026. Welcome to the Year 10 Information and Study Skills Evening. Tonight's meeting is an important chance for us to focus on your son's journey through Year 10, the tremendous opportunities they'll be presented with this year and key expectations along the way. By using this online platform, you can hear the important information communicated tonight from the comfort of your home or study area for the boarders. It also means that you can replay sections later if you need to listen to them again. During this evening, Mr. Brennan will deliver his principal's address. Ms. Morrison will explore what learning looks like in Year 10. Mr. Bomarderi will consider the expectations and academic considerations of Year 10. Mr. Duggan will spend some time on academic care. I will speak about pastoral care. Mr. Ivanchik will speak about the careers dimension of Year 10, and Mr. Morrissey will speak about boarding opportunities at the college. Before we begin, I will just go through some housekeeping. Students will be given academic care handbooks. It would be a good idea for students to have this to refer to this evening. We would ask that one member of the family uses a QR code on the last slide of tonight's presentation to confirm your attendance at the event. Now there will be an acknowledgement of country and pre.
As the St. Greg's community and the Maras family, we pay our respects to the traditional custodians of this sacred land, the Dharawal people. We acknowledge the elders, both past and present, and the emerging leaders of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people of Australia.
Well, good evening to parents and students of Year 10 2026, and I welcome you to the Year 10 Information Evening, and in a very special way, welcome to your centenary. The year is full of many great surprises and fun activities involved, as well as obviously our normal academic rigour. But I would remind you of our Back to Greeks Day on the 21st of March. There is the radio, but also activities through the day, and you'd be very welcome to attend. If you are yet to receive or bought tickets for the radio, I'd encourage you to do so, as they're limited now, less than 150 odd. Can I thank Mr Bombardieri and the team involved in putting together the important night tonight, and recognise the fact and the busyness of the start of the year, having it online for you to be able to watch now and also to be able to reference it at a later time. Obviously, with Year 10, the stakes have now become higher and we're at our final year of compulsory schooling. The boys are obviously a number of subject selections have been made for this year, and certainly in Term 3 for those moving on to Year 11. There's a rigorous process that will occur there. Just a few things to remind you all on how to make sure that your son or you as a young man are successful in Year 10. The importance of attendance I can't overstate. Obviously in classes you're there, you'll be given the information and you'll be able to learn. No longer is it an acceptable excuse to take a family holiday at all during term time. Obviously there's always going to be incidents of family emergencies and reasons not to be at school, valid reasons, but taking a holiday is one that you need to avoid now we're getting into Year 10 and certainly as we move into Year 11 and 12. I would also encourage you to use the resources that are available here to you at the school. Most of you have had work with Mr Duggan in the past, and obviously Miss Price, two people who've been stable with you in Year 9 and will follow you again through Year 10. Also to Mr Vanchik, our Transition and Pathways Coordinator, he's somebody that you also want to tap into, as well as all your teachers and your homeroom teachers also. One of the things we'll be doing this year is having a look at your sons and your results of Year 9 and saying if this was halfway through Year 9, what sort of elective or pattern of study would you be able to do? So I really encourage you the importance of starting well and making sure that you are putting your best foot forward, because it will have an impact on what you will be studying later in the year. Can I also encourage you to make sure you balance studies as well as your co-curricular involvements, as well as other activities you are doing. Successful students and all of our ducks who come back and our school captains speak about this notion of balance. So please make sure that you do, in your timetables, find time for yourselves, for your friends, and then obviously your academic study. To our parents, it's important that we are positive with our young men and we continue to build resilience in them. It may be incidents where the boys have to stay up later to get work completed if they're not organised enough. But it is important as parents that they learn these lessons now as they move into Year 11 and 12 and also into life post-school. Interestingly, this year, the theme for the Mara Schools Australia is Full of Grace, Transform the World with God's Love. And I'm asked how that could equate to things that we're doing here at St Greg's. When I look at our community and what makes it such a good community, there's a number of things. But one of the things is the trust that we build within each other and our opportunities to do the best we can. Our strategic priority, our number 3, is looking at improving student outcomes and creating this culture of excellence. And to do that, there has to be a level of grace. I'm quoting Abbot Christopher Jameson, who says, "Grace is a goodness that nourishes the soul. It feeds the good in us so that we can trust each other and flourish together." That's certainly a goal of mine and our community this year. I wish your sons the very best in Year 10. And again, I thank those staff who put together this evening, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brennan. And good evening, parents and Year 10 students, students of the graduating HSC class for 2028. Tonight emphasises the importance of Year 10 in your son's educational journey. There will be a lot of information heard tonight from a variety of speakers, all with their own key areas of relevance and importance. So thank you for joining us here tonight, albeit remotely. Year 10 is an important year for many reasons. Beginning with the end in mind, let's look at our 2025 HSC results. We are very proud of our Year 12 2025 HSC cohort, who last year achieved amazing results. Our college achieved 6.5% or 38 Band 6 results. Our highest ATAR of 99.35 was achieved by Dominic Kirko, and 10 boys achieved an ATAR of over 90, with 5 over 95. 34.9% of our students achieved a Band 5 or Band 6, and just as importantly, 60 boys received TAFE credentials as part of their HSC. 7 students were nominated for excellence in major works in technology for SHAPE, whilst 2 students received an encore nomination for music and 1 student received a nomination for Art Express. Many of our students received an early entry offer for university, achievements that certainly set students up for success way beyond St Greg's. So what will you achieve in the 2028 HSC? 3 years ago, those students and their parents sat where you sit right now. So I asked the question, what will you achieve? Each Year 10 student has the potential to achieve great things. It all comes down to the choices that you make over the final Year 11 terms here at school. You would have heard many of us speak about the St Gregory's Agile graduate, and perhaps wondering why we keep referring to this term Agile. We know that agility refers to the capacity to respond to change and challenges with action, vigour, flexibility, and optimism. Agile graduates will possess the skills and attributes needed for success in Stage 5 and then Stage 6. At St Greg's, we recognise that successful learners are relational, resilient, resourceful, reflective, and responsible. Relational relates to the relationships you have with others. To be successful, you will need to collaborate with others, ask for help, value and respect the opinions of others, work in a team, be an active listener, give and accept feedback in a positive manner. Success is not a given. It is obtained through hard work and commitment. To be successful, you need to be resilient. You need to keep trying your best even when things seem hard. You need to ask for help. Set smart goals, value the process of learning rather than focusing on the outcome, and you need to exercise self-control even when you may be feeling overwhelmed or frustrated. It is important that you are an active learner in your education. This means that you seek information, look for opportunities and alternatives, know what you can already do, and look for opportunities to solve new problems. You need to ask questions, try new things, seek feedback, and above all, you need to show initiative. To improve, you must be aware of your current. You must use feedback. You need to set goals. You need to make plans for improvement. You need to own and know your own strengths and weaknesses, and you need to know what is required to achieve success. You are now a Year 10 student at St Greg's. You are setting the example for junior students and modelling what is expected. So you need to show up and you need to be ready to learn. You need to be an active learner. You need to find your why, and you need to take responsibility for your own success. Responsibility is particularly important for our students tonight as they move into the next phase of their education. Success is never accidental. Success is a product of hard work, commitment, and dedication to your goals. Every one of you will have a different success story. You need to make sure that you are proud of yours. I will now pass over to Mr. Bombarderi, the college's Director of Studies.
Thank you, Mrs. Morrison. Good evening, parents, carers, and Year 10 students. I also extend a warm welcome to teachers watching remotely and our boarding students who are watching from their study hall. My name is Rick Bombarderi, I'm Director of Studies at the college. Thank you again for joining us for our online information evening. In essence, this year marks the end of compulsory education for Year 10 students. This year will either set your son up for success in Year 11 and 12, or it will help them in their chosen career at the end of Year 10.
In the next 10 minutes, I'd like to explore the following areas. Firstly, we'll explore the academic path ahead, then we'll look at academic expectations. Finally, we'll consider course selection. To start, I want to share a snapshot of what life looks like for our boys as they move through and beyond the gates of the college. Every year there are variations to this pattern, but here are some of the ways that the journey usually unfolds. By the end of this year, roughly 20 boys will head off to jumpstart their careers through apprenticeships and full-time employment. Moving into year 11, we usually see about 160 boys continue their journey with us. During the HSCs, another 20 to 30 students will find their path early and leave before their final HSC exams to take up specific career opportunities. The finish line. Of those who complete the HSC, about 70 to 80 boys will use their ATAR to head straight to university. And the rest, well, they head off to TAFE, they start great career jobs, or they take a well-earned gap year. Let's look at the roadmap for the next few months ahead. Term 1 involves consolidating Stage 5 electives and core content. Term 2 will begin with the first round of HSC minimum standards testing. We'll also host a career expo, and in the middle of Term 2, there will be Semester 1 exams. In Term 3, students will make their course selections for Year 11 and 12. For those planning to head into the workforce, this is also when our transition program begins. In Term 4, students will complete their Semester 2 exams early in the term. The ROSA results will be available right at the end of the term, and they will also find out what their courses will be for next year. Early next term, our Year 10 students will complete their HSC minimum standards tests. All students in New South Wales complete these tests in reading, writing, and numeracy. Students need to keep on attempting these tests until they pass them all, like the driver's L-plate tests. Students can only gain their HSC credential if they do pass all three. They have until several years after the HSC to complete them. However, we'd like as many students as possible to pass these tests before the end of Year 10. Here's a short clip from Nessa that provides more information.
Students need reading, writing and numeracy for everyday life after school. To ensure New South Wales students leave school ready for future learning and life, they are required to meet a minimum standard of literacy and numeracy to receive the HSC. Regardless of your plans for after school, you are going to need some English and maths skills to do things like get a good deal on your mobile phone plan. Students demonstrate they have met the standard by sitting short reading, writing and numeracy tests that are available to take online at school. You can take these when you are ready in Year 10, Year 11 or Year 12. You can sit each minimum standard reading, writing or numeracy test up to 4 times each year until you can demonstrate the minimum standard. Even after you leave school, you'll have up to 5 years after starting your first HSC course to sit the tests and receive your HSC. Your HSC will be proof to employers, TAFE and university that you can read, write and do maths. In other words, you'll be ready for life after school.
Year 10 is different than any other year that has gone before because students begin their record of school achievement, or their ROSA. The ROSA is a cumulative credential for students who leave after completing Year 10 but before the HSC. It is also important to know that the grades that you gain this year and also in Year 11 will be printed on your HSC testament and also on your ROSA. To be eligible for a ROSA and to move into Year 11, students must satisfactorily complete Stage 5 courses and attend school until the end of the year. Year 10 is different than any other year that has gone before because students begin their record of school achievement, or their ROSA. The ROSA is a cumulative credential for students who leave after completing Year 10 but before the HSC. It is also important to know that the grades that you gain this year and also in Year 11 will be printed on your HSC testament and also on your ROSA. Throughout the year, students will complete assessments in each of their courses. These are important because in addition to giving your son a chance to improve in the skills that he will need later in life, they are used to determine the ROSA grades. At the end of the academic handbook, there is a calendar and further details of all Year 10 formal assessments for the year. Mr. Duggan will speak more about these assessments. Because the ROSA credential applies to all students in New South Wales, there are tighter expectations around assessment tasks. The first expectation involves what students need to do if they miss an assessment through illness or misadventure. If a student misses an assessment through illness or misadventure, or they are involved in a state or national representative sport, first they will need evidence for why they missed the task. That will involve either a medical certificate or evidence from an appropriate third party. Second, they need to complete a student assessment form. These are available in student services and on the central portal. There's also a sample in the academic handbook. Next, students will need to submit their student assessment form and their evidence to me, and this can be done via student services or via the SAF at St Greg's email, and this needs to happen before their first day back at school. Students will then need to be prepared to hand in their task to the teacher or the leader of learning on their first day back at school, or complete the in-class task on the first day back. If your son will be away from school for more than 5 days, you will need to seek approval from the principal and also complete a student extended leave form. If students miss an assessment as part of their leave, they also need to complete a student assessment form. It is a good idea not to miss assessment tasks because of holidays, as assessment appeals due to holiday leave cannot be approved. There are a number of ROSA rules around assessment tasks. One of these is malpractice. Malpractice is any time when a student gains unfair advantage in an assessment. It includes, but isn't limited to, plagiarism, collusion, breaking assessment task or exam rules, or the use of AI. Plagiarism involves copying someone else's ideas or words without acknowledgement. Students are encouraged always to use referencing to acknowledge any sources that they have used. Collusion involves submitting work that was substantially done by somebody else. Collusion involves submitting work that was substantially done by somebody else. Misrepresentation involves misleading by presenting untrue information. It might include making up scientific observations or referencing sources that don't exist. A breach of assessment conditions is when a student does not follow instructions provided during an in-class assessment or during an exam. For instance, this may include a student talking during an exam, or taking a smart device into an exam, or taking notes into an exam. The Year 10 Academic Handbook has information about the procedures that the college follows for investigating possible malpractice. There are also significant consequences if malpractice is established. This may include receiving 0 for a task, receiving a detention, and also being issued with an N determination warning letter. To maintain the integrity of the ROSA, all schools need to apply an N award determination process. The first stage involves the school sending an N determination warning letter. This is our way of letting you know that your son is experiencing difficulty and is not satisfactorily completing a course. These warning letters will be issued when an assessment task has not been submitted on time or there was malpractice. It may also be issued for any significant coursework where the student did not demonstrate diligence or sustained effort. This warning letter gives the student a due date to correct the problem by, and also a submission or a chance to redo the task. If the student does not rectify the problem, they receive a second warning letter. If, after the due date of this warning letter passes and the problem has not been resolved, the student may be N-determined in their course. This may mean that the student is not able to progress into Year 11. It may also mean that their course will not appear on their ROSA. While these rules around ROSA are important, the ROSA itself is a great opportunity for your son to gain recognition for their hard work in class, and it is a credential for their future. It is also good for students to learn the ropes this year because these rules are also the same for Year 11 and Year 12 when the stakes are much higher. Finally, let's consider Stage 6 course selection in a little bit more detail. This way, students will be prepared to make their choices when it comes time. Although the process begins in Term 3, Mr. Duggan and Mr. Ivanchik will spend time with students throughout the year looking at academic and career topics. At the beginning of Term 3, there will be an online information evening. You will also gain access to our Stage 6 course selection website, which contains, among other things, videos about each of the courses on offer. Next, there will be a course selection expo, and this will be an opportunity to speak to heads of department about their courses. Before you put in your course preferences, there will also be an interview process between parent, student, and one of our course selection team. There are a number of pathways through the HSC. An important takeaway from tonight is for students to begin thinking about which pathway will be right for them. Students might follow the traditional academic pathway that leads to an ATAR and university. However, there is an HSC Plus pathway that is more suited to students who would like to be involved in work placements, VET courses, more practical courses. Mr. Ivanchik will also discuss school-based apprenticeships and TVET courses. At the end of the day, students will be most successful in Stage 6 if they choose the right path for them, and our goal is the right student for the right course. Let's now spend some time considering more academically rigorous courses. As mentioned earlier, what you do in Year 10 matters. In the courses on the screen, students will need to achieve specific grades in Semester 1 of Year 10. We will use students' reports to make recommendations about which courses they will be most suited to in Year 11 and 12. The reason for this is that these courses are highly demanding and students will not have the prerequisite knowledge or skills unless they have met the recommendations for the course. To prepare you for these recommendations, later this term, we will send out a set of recommendations based on students' results last semester as a progress check. This way, they can see if they need to work harder in specific subjects so that they can be recommended for courses at the beginning of Term 3. While we hope all students will stay with us to walk across that stage at the end of Year 12, we also understand that for some boys, Year 10 might be the end of the line. In making any decisions about leaving the college, it is important to know that students need to go into full-time work or education below age 17. Students will only be eligible for a ROSA if they complete Year 10. We'd also recommend that students speak with Mr. Duggan and Ms. Price if they are thinking of leaving. It's also an important idea to check in with Mr. Ivanchik, who will organise a transition to work program. Parents will need to contact the college registrar and also, where possible, give the school 1 term's notice. Finally, your son is in good hands in their preparation this year. If there are any academic concerns, please see subject teachers in the first instance, then the head of department for individual subject concerns, or Mr. Duggan for more general academic issues. For pastoral issues, please speak with your son's homeroom teacher, then with Mrs. Price. For learning enrichment support, you can speak with Mrs. Grant, or for careers and vocational training considerations, Mr. Ivanchik is available. With all these people intent on making the partnership work this year, I would encourage students to build good connections and to make the most of every opportunity. If there's any support or assistance that my learning team or I can give, please always feel free to reach out and contact us. Again, thank you for your support. Now, please welcome Mr. Duggan, our Stage 5 Academic Care Leader, who will speak to us about important academic considerations and address the study skills component of the night.
Thank you, Mr. Bombardieri. Good evening, parents, carers, and students of Year 10, our graduating class of 2028. My name is Glenn Duggan, and I'm the Stage 5 Academic Care Leader here at St Gregory's College. I'd like to thank everyone for attending this important online information session. The next part of the evening will focus on the academic care program for our Year 10 students, and I'll outline how we support their academic growth, well-being, and their preparations for the senior years to come.
My role involves the following: managing known leave, goal setting, Stage 5 group presentations, course selections, liaising with students, staff and parents, organisation and time management skills, HSC minimum standards, homework club, NAPLAN, report and data analysis, Wednesday academic care lessons, exams, and managing extraordinary situations. Students can access my help through self-referral, identified by academic care leader, head of year, classroom teacher, support staff, and parents. Previously in academic care in years 7, 8 and 9, we've looked at study skills session with external educational consultant Prusalter, building on and consolidating the work of Prusalter, and working closely with myself as the academic care leader on Year 9 material, in line with what was touched on in the previous slides. Some of the areas I'll be focusing on specifically with Year 10 include goal setting, time management and organisational skills, healthy work habits, understanding study and study skills, academic expectations, report evaluation and reflections, Stage 6 course selections, growth mindset, motivation and engagement, reflecting on feedback and assessments, exam preparation, and preparing for Year 11 and 12 and beyond. As academic care leader, a key role will be to monitor the growth of all students in Year 10 in areas of their literacy and numeracy. For example, in the graph to the right, we see that the arrows in the blue signify areas below expected growth. Orange arrows are ideal. It is my role to support and work with students with less than expected growth and explore options for extension activities for students at the top end who are potentially growing less than expected. As the academic care leader, I need to focus my attention along with students in strategies which have a large positive impact on their learning. Visible learning, led by researcher John Hattie, is a collection of more than 800 meta-studies, exploring 80,000 studies covering more than 80 million students. Visible learning is a result of 15 years of research about what works best for learning in schools. In this research, an effect size of 0.2 may be judged to have a small effect, an effect size of 0.4, a medium effect, and 0.6, a large effect on outcomes. He defines an effect size of 0.4 to be the hinge point, an effect size at which an initiative can be said to be having a greater than average influence on achievement. The areas highlighted in red will be key focal points in the year ahead. I'm very thankful that at St Greg's, an event such as this is well attended by parents. Parents play an important part in the success of their son's academic life. The graph on the left of the screen demonstrates that what a student brings to school, their habits, drive, motivation, natural talents make up 50% of their results. Home and parent influences make up over 10% of the results that students achieve. Student diaries are a key communication tool between the school and home. It is strongly encouraged that parents regularly check student diaries. Here is a past survey result of student diaries. We have a pleasing result at the top end, but we still have work to do when it comes to those that scored in the region of 1 to 3. Continuing on the theme of parental involvement, the recent survey demonstrates that 90% of parents are checking in with their sons about how well they are doing with their schoolwork. This graph demonstrates that 80% of parents talk about the importance of school success for their future. Having high expectations of students and their future underpins student motivation.
Effective goal setting is one of the most consistently supported strategies in educational research. However, not all goals are equally effective. The difference lies in the structure. The SMART framework ensures that goals are purposeful, strategic, and actionable. Specific. A goal must clearly define the intended outcome. Rather than simply stating improve in English, a specific goal identifies the exact skill, assessment task, or performance area requiring development. Measurable. Progress must be observable. Measurable goals include clear indicators such as percentage improvement, number of practice questions completed, or assessment outcomes. Measurement allows for monitoring, feedback, and adjustment. Achievable. Goals should be challenging yet realistic. Appropriately calibrated goals promote motivation and sustain engagement, whereas unrealistic goals can undermine confidence and persistence. Relevant. The goal must align with broader academic priorities or longer-term aspirations. When students see the connection between short-term effort and long-term outcomes, such as subject mastery, senior pathways, or ATAR performance, commitment increases. Time-bound. Every effective goal requires a defined timeframe. Deadlines create urgency, structure effort, and prevent goals from becoming indefinite intentions. Students are expected to set 2 specific learning goals at the start of each semester to provide direction, build accountability, and promote measurable academic growth.
There are a number of things that students can do in order to be responsible in their academic care at home. Writing down all details of homework they are set in their school diaries, being aware of the importance of homework and of the school's homework policy, planning their homework task completion appropriately, not leaving work to the last minute, recording due dates for task and major assignments in their diaries, seeking assistance from teachers, parents, or caregivers when difficulties arise, ensuring their homework is completed to a high standard, and showing their homework commitments and teacher expectations to their parents or caregivers, and developing an effective individual study timetable and submitting assigned work on time. A study and homework schedule is vital for success. When creating a study and homework schedule, consider your sporting, social, cultural commitments on a weekly basis. Consider your personal family factors such as mealtimes, walks, etc. And consider your homework requirements. Forward plan by creating extra space for the assessment periods, and complete the table below by creating blocks of time labelled meals, sports, family, homework, extra study. Based on the feedback from students last year, more than half of all students created and found the homework and study timetable useful. Next week, I will share with the year group an assessment task timetable similar to the one in view. This contains every assessment that Year 10 as a cohort would complete, term by term, over the year. I will encourage students to remove assessment tasks which are not relevant to them in order to create their own personalised assessment schedule that they can use and share with their parents. It is suggested that the assessment schedule be shared with parents in a visible place like the fridge. Students are to also do their best in coursework completed in class, as this also contributes to their overall grade that they receive on their end of semester reports. What is the difference between homework and study? Homework is general work set by a teacher for completion at home. Study is revision and reinforcement of work covered. We aren't all born with the ability to know how to study. The skills required to study well must be learned and practiced regularly. As your sons progress through St Greg's as an agile learner, they will be presented with many resources and opportunities to develop approaches to their studies. As with everything in life, students must select the suggestions and skills that work best for them. More importantly, these skills must be used on an ongoing basis. All of the practices shared with students are not meant to be one-hit wonders. Students will need to make consistent effort when implementing them. All students are also welcome to come to Homework Club on Monday afternoon, and also the Marion is open to 4 p.m. for supervised study on Tuesday and Wednesday afternoons to work on homework, study and assessments. The most important aspect of study is practicing retrieving information that is already in our heads. The more we practice retrieving information, the more easily we'll be able to retrieve that information when we need it in an exam. Space practice, when combined with retrieval practice, increases the effectiveness of study. Space practice is a study technique where students review material over a long period of time. This gives their minds time to form connections between the ideas and concepts, and knowledge can be built upon and easily recalled later. There are several note-taking methods that students can use to review facts, create summaries, create study questions, understand key concepts, and visualise and make connections between ideas and topics. This slide provides a visual of a sample of note-taking options available for your sons to engage in. I will work through these different techniques with your sons throughout the year.
In summary, for a successful academic year ahead, be organised and plan, set yourself up for success, be consistent, use retrieval practice and space practice, choose study strategies that work for you, draw on supports of the school and parents. Mrs. Alicia Price, the head of year for Year 10, will now speak about pastoral care in Stage 5.
Thank you, Mr. Duggan. I'm very excited to be working again so closely with Mr. Duggan this year as we did last year in Year 9. The theme for Year 10 in 2026 is Own the Moment, Earn the Progress. My aim for the students as they mature in Year 10 is to take responsibility for their actions, whether positive or negative. For students to see the link between these moments and the progress they achieve. The bar has been raised for the students this year. My expectation is that they will display resilience, perseverance, and effort across all areas of college life. In 2026, there will be a stronger link with academic care, and this will occur as the Right Journey concludes. The Right Journey homecoming ceremony will be in Term 2. We'll build towards subject selections and career discussions in Semester 2. It is an honour to begin with your sons in Year 7 and continue as their head of Year 10. We have been able to maintain consistency in 2026 with our homeroom team. We welcome back Mr. Byrne, and new to the team, we welcome Mr. Sullivan and Mr. Nelson. This year, your son will be encouraged to participate in the Community Service Project. Various opportunities will be advertised throughout the year, including attending Reby Detention Centre, IPSO, barbecues for the Year 9 Right Journey, Shrove Tuesday, and a variety of other opportunities will be presented to your son. They will need to log each of these things on the logbook provided by Mr. Coughlin. Students will be attending the Year 10 Adventure Camp in Bungonia this term. This will take place on Monday, the 30th of March through to Wednesday, the 1st of April. Could I ask that the St. Gregory's College medical consent form be completed via the parent portal and the Boomerang Indemnity and Health Status form using the link provided. Activities include an overnight hike, caving, abseiling, slackline, games and camp cooking. I would encourage all boys to attend the camp, and they will gain a great deal from the experience, as will the staff who attend and support them throughout their adventure.
Thanks, Mrs. Price. Evening, parents and students. My name is Mr. Ivanchik and I take care of transition and pathways at the college. So this evening I'll take you through some of the resources and support that I can provide both yourself and your young men.
I'd like to go through 3 items tonight, the first being the job market and give you some statistics from the market. Also going through some resources that will be provided for your son and yourself, and some major programs that we'll also deliver that Year 10 will be involved in. So let's go through some statistics around the job market. So the number one job growth in 2025 was actually a prompt engineer. So that's a human teaching AI how to better perform its function. This next slide demonstrates some of the 6 different jobs that Job Skills Australia is actually indicating are in shortage in our economy, being health being the number one, and that's not surprising knowing we're an aging population, technology being number 2, and everything around STEM, design, engineering, science and transport. If we then take this slide and break it down into how does that translate into university and courses within university, the following is quite interesting. Dotted line across and then up with the green arrow, they're the 4 subgroups of professions that the government would like the next round of employees to come into, and then the ones below indicating with the red line, they're the ones that they're trying to indicate that the opportunities in the future for jobs is actually going to be limited. Hence the reason they are biasing university fees to be for below the purple line 3 times in some instances of the courses that are above that line. And how that looks for the professional subgroups that are indicated with the green line is, depending on the tertiary institution, that could be anything from a 0 cost up to a $26,000 cost. And seeing that through to the professions underneath the purple line indicated with the red arrow going downwards, those professions could be upwards of approximately 58,000 and sometimes even more in some of the tertiary educations to do those courses. This next slide indicates the career choices made by teenagers, and quite an alarming statistic in that 50% of teenagers aspire to just 1% of all available careers that are on offer. That's just 1%. It's quite alarming. I'd now like to take you through some of the resources that the college will be providing for both your son and yourselves. Generally, some of the resources include career-related advice that I can provide your son and yourselves, exploring post-school options, which includes tertiary study, apprenticeships, both as a school-based apprentice and apprentices once you've left school, employment opportunities, subject choices is a large one that we do, and alternate pathways within that subject choices program, and then work experience. I do get many students and sometimes parents either come through to my office or call indicating that they've got a certain subject that they absolutely love or they're really good at. And so Career Bullseye is a great way to start to indicate which level of tertiary study or further study is required in order to achieve some sort of job or career prospect. Other resources, including job market publications, a good university guide, are also available through the Transition Pathways Office. Tertiary institutions and future employers are looking at what else students are doing at school in order to demonstrate their willingness to be a whole-rounded student. And as you can see, the micro-credential program that we have on offer is a comprehensive one, which is designed for the involvement of every kind of student in the college. There is nothing there that I believe a student wouldn't find interest and the ability to grow a skill in. I'd like to take you now through the programs that are on offer that will support your son as he transitions through the college. Our subject selection program is probably one of the bigger things that will impact on your son this year, and gents choices are coming your way, and those choices include leaving or staying in the college, different subjects that will be on offer in stage 6, ATAR or HSC Plus, and we'll go through the variations of those, VET subjects or TVET subjects, that's subjects that are done at TAFE, apprenticeships, both school-based apprenticeships and apprenticeships if you want to leave, and then work experience. The Careers and Jobs Expo will be the first exposure your son will have to an enormous program that will be on for 10s, 11s and 12s. And essentially this is an expo with all the universities, TAFEs and various industry experts there. Last year we had about 122 different exhibitors. There was an enormous amount of people, being around about 1,000, with various other Catholic schools in the area, and on the night we have around 62 exhibitors offering jobs also. So this slide gives you the date when it's actually going to be on. So it's Wednesday the 13th of May from 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. You can see on the right hand side there the enormous amount of variety and depth in the exhibitors that we'll have, and essentially we'll have three parts to the expo, being the general exhibitors, which will be in the Brother Luke Hall. We'll have a jobs market that will run through those exhibitors, and then we'll have small breakout areas. And one in particular that will be important for Year 10 is we'll have UAC there talking about Year 10 subject selection choices, which has always been a great attended one by Year 10 students and their parents. The next program is the Life Expo. So it's brand new to the college, and LIFE is an acronym, so Living Independently Financially Engaged. Essentially on the 26th of August, Wednesday evening, it will be a session where we'll have professionals in talking to yourselves and your son with regards to things like financial advising, property, health, recruitment, and there'll be rotational workshops that you'll go through with your son, listening to these experts, indicating different ways that your son is able to essentially live independently and be financially engaged in society. My last slide, and thank you again for being patient and going through these slides with me. I communicate everything through to the boys via email, so please let the boys know that they should be checking and maintaining their email account at the college. If you did want to call through, my number is on the screen there, 4629 4210. Again, thank you for your attention tonight, and I'll pass over to Mr. Morrissey.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for listening tonight. My pleasure to talk to you about boarding. So why would you consider boarding for your son as he enters into his senior schooling years? The simple reason is that boarding works. So we offer a structured study routine, 2 to 3 hours every night. It can often be more than 3 hours if your son's busy and he's got lots of assessment tasks. Our tutors will stay on and support him to sometimes as late as 10 o'clock at night, 10:30, helping him get through his work and making sure that he's doing the best that he can do. That program runs Monday through to Thursday, and there's tutors available every night of those weeks throughout the school term. We provide a really good and consistent solid routine for the boys from after school, when school finishes at 3 o'clock, all the way through to bedtime, and that routine obviously studies at the heart of that, but it also includes all your dinner and your meals. It includes structured afternoon sport. It includes access to the school facilities, and includes obviously some free time, which is really important for the boys as well. Sleep and technology is a really big one to keep people, to keep teenage boys on target. And sleep, obviously we provide them the opportunity to have 9 hours of uninterrupted sleep. We take all of their technology, whether they're in Year 7 all the way through to Year 12. No student is allowed to have his phone in his room at night. They all get handed in. All laptops get handed in from Year 7 all the way through to Year 10. Year 11 and 12 students are allowed to hang on to their laptops if they need them for school purposes and work purposes. So it gives them the opportunity to get a really good night's sleep and to make sure that they're functioning and fully functional, ready to go at school the next day. Boarding also provides the opportunity for personal growth and independence. And you know, when you move out of the family home, you don't really have any choice but to grow up. So moving into a boarding environment really gives that opportunity for students to step out of their comfort zone and to try and grow. And one of the biggest things of feedback that we get from families is just how quickly that their son changes when they move into a boarding environment. In terms of tutoring, so you'll see on the screen there, so there's a huge amount of subjects that we offer in relation to our tutoring. We use all of our ex-students that get band 6s and above and not ATARs over 90, our high achievers. We get tutors from other schools as well that are similar, people that have just recently done HSC. We also have academic staff that work in boarding and that are available to tutor. So we cover the full range of subjects, so that will obviously be something that would benefit your son also. There's various options in boarding. So we have full-time boarding, and 80% of our students are full-time boarders, but the other 20% are weekly boarders, and they fall into one or two categories. So we either have weekly boarding, which is dropping your son in on Sunday for mass and then setting his week up, or coming in Monday morning and they'll stay till Friday afternoon, or we have extended or 4-day boarding, where you come in on a Monday and you go home on a Thursday afternoon. So you come in after school on Monday and then you go home after school on a Thursday. All meals and activities are included. It's totally flexible. So, you know, if you're thinking about your son coming into weekly boarding but you're worried because he's got swimming training or rugby league training or whatever it is, some sort of external commitment, we're happy to work with you with that and work around that, and have a conversation in relation to how that might look for your son. As I said, all meals and activities are included. It gives them the opportunity to try. We offer a free trial, so you can come in for a week and try it and see whether it does work and see whether he does enjoy it. But it is a program that will work, and it will provide your son with structure and routine to try and be successful over the course of his senior schooling life. We have had some success with our boarding students, getting really good results in the HSC, which are only just realised, or were only just presented to the school at the recent academic assembly. So it was fantastic to have students involved in that as well. So please, if you're interested in boarding, you'll see up on the screen there my phone number, my direct phone number. You can get in contact with me through email or my direct phone number, or get in contact with our college registrar, Miss Arachi. Happy to take you around for a tour and discuss any circumstances for you. It is surprisingly affordable. There are various ways that we can make sure that this can be something that you can afford, to try and give your son an opportunity to do really well in his senior years of schooling. Thanks for listening, and enjoy the rest of your night.
Thank you staff, parents and Year 10 students for being a part of the Year 10 Information and Study Skills Evening. We hope that you gained insight into all things Year 10. Gentlemen, please look over the academic handbook and make sure these have been signed and the acknowledgement pages at the front of the book. Please also use a QR code on the next page to indicate your attendance at the event. Thank you all for your attendance, and have a good night.